Yo, that playlist is fire.
Wait, hold on.
What's up? What's
Hold
up? What's
on.
up?
Hold on. Is that my
Come
playlist?
on, G. It's the vibes. We got to make sure we starting this off right.
Yo, I was like, yo, this man knows me so well, playing all my favorite songs, and then I hear that Zach Fox. I'm like, oh nah, this nigga has my.
Look, man, I was paying attention. Got to come correct. I would like to welcome everyone to the 44th episode of Money Trees. Founder, visionary, icon. These words get thrown around in this space far too often, but there are few as deserving of these titles as today's guest. One of the most astonishing builders, not in just Web3, in the world, is here. Co-founder of Black Hand and the creator of the Icon universe, ATM. How are you feeling today, G?
Bro, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good right now. I was tired, but like honestly, hearing my playlist of the intro just like gave me so much energy. So yeah, I'm ready.
Hey, there it is, G. You know, we've had some great conversations in spaces covering like a wide range of topics, but I want to make sure we're both clear. Today is about you. You're now, pun intended, Icon PFP was one of the first that became instantly recognizable to me. Not only is the color scheme of black and red my two favorites, it had like this energy to it that I don't know, it didn't feel like anything I had come across in the space. And let me be really clear too. This is an expansive universe and one that is not meant to be summed up in a couple of sentences. So this next question is more for the uninitiated. If you're completely new to ATM, this is to give you a bit of a precursor. I implore everyone listening on to this episode to go to the description and check out ATM's pages in the Mirror article to get a full understanding of what he is building. With that said, can you tell the people what is the Icon universe and why you've decided to use Web3 tools to bring this idea to fruition?
Yeah, bro, I got you. Like you said, this is about to be a long-winded answer, so put your seatbelts on. Um, the Icon universe is an alternate history that I've been building for the last year. It's based off of concepts that are presented in the Gnostic texts, like old, lost, ancient histories, and religious concepts in the Bible, in the Quran, in the Torah. Um, that whether it was lost to weather or whether it was lost to power or whatever, these histories haven't been discovered until recently. So taking these foreign and strange concepts and building a universe on top of it while also retelling the story of black people in America, like giving them a chance to become gods essentially. um yeah, it's a whole thing, and it's still being built. I'm like still ideating on new ideas and concepts, like, ooh, how to start this, where to go here. And the reason why I chose Web3 for this is because I believe in a type of storytelling that involves making real people interact in very real ways. And the best way to make an interactive storytelling venture where people pilot their own characters and influence the world in their own different ways was through Web3. And another reason why I picked Web3, on the blockchain is because I am focusing on these lost histories, and a lot of them aren't lost because a nigga just forgot it at home. They're lost because somebody in power was like, yeah, absolutely not. We're not teaching this to the kids. Like this doesn't sit right. And now that it's on chain, it's going to be on chain. It can never be removed. It's immutable. It's forever. So people will always be able to go back and do their own research, come to their own conclusions. And honestly, that's what I feel like is most important in life.
Whew, I think that you did an excellent job providing a brief summary, but again, I would very much encourage everyone to read The Mirror. It breaks down the historical context that went into your ideation. And it was just clear you put so much thought and effort into this. And I genuinely feel like you've created something unique that I have not seen anywhere else in this space. And I just gotta give you props on that. You talked about how this is still something that you're, still ideating on, still building out. There was a quote that you had where you said you understand why it takes 5 years to make a fantasy novel. What's been one of the more challenging aspects of bringing this universe to reality?
I think the most challenging part is figuring out where to start, because I've built basically the world from the ground up. I built the history, the key events, the key players, but all of it, it's like, do I start before? Do I start as a prelude to the main events of the story? Do I start right off and then go back? It's just like, how do I best get people in the same mindset that I am when I start this, which will be soon. Because I've basically been rewiring my brain for the last year to just constantly live in this universe. So how can I get people the same type of engage, the same type of like, oh shit, like for example, I was driving from Vegas to LA recently, and I saw solar arrays, and it just gave me so many ideas on how I can build out, a certain culture, a certain community. Like, oh, maybe they're not industrial, but they run off solar power or whatever. Like, just all kind of, and that continuing to build on makes it even harder to be like, okay, where do I start? What do I show? All kind of shit. But honestly, it is the most rewarding process ever. And when going back on that quote, like, I understand why fantasy writers take 5 years. I understand it not because it's hard, but because you love the ideation so much. Like, I love building this universe so much. I don't want to stop. And I continue to add shit. And I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be, I already know, like, from chapter one to the final chapter, it's probably going to be like a 5, 6, 7 year process. And the only reason why it won't be even longer is because I'm adding in living, breathing people to influence the world. So instead of me managing every one little thing that happens in this world, I can instead move the three main characters through it as it changes by itself. So it just makes the storytelling process a lot easier and a lot more interactive as well.
I love how interactive you're making the storytelling. You mentioned you're allowing people to pilot their own characters. You had back-to-back announcements of Drifter Shoots and Sursu joining the universe's elders last what was that? It was 2 weeks ago, I want to say. And I saw that and I was like, oh, he's got Sursu coming in. And the next day it was Drift. And I had already been incredibly impressed by the collection of you are creating a pantheon of Black creatives in your world. And I think incorporating so many ill creative minds into this is going to do wonders to the storytelling. So actually, really not even a question in there, but I just kind of had to shout that out.
Nah.
I remember seeing that. No, what's up? What's up?
I have an anecdote, a short one. So one, I am plotting on one very special elder. I'm not going to reveal anything, but maybe in like the next week or two, you might see like somebody crazy join this jump. Maybe two, maybe three, who knows?
They all crazy so far. Before keep going.
But it's gonna be like, you're gonna be like, oh shit, that is nuts. The second thing is, I had my first elder ideation meeting, besides Russ, of course, yesterday. This man this man wants to be a pirate. He's like, yeah, bro, I got a pirate ship. And I'm like, yo, that makes me so excited. I didn't even think about on some pirate shit. Like, I've been landlocked this whole time. It's like, bro, niggas can be pirates, like a fucking pirate elder liberating the people. Like, that is such a cool idea. And it just reinforced that I was doing the right thing by letting people pilot their own shit, like do what they want to do in this world. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm definitely hyped to see who else you tap and bring into this space and see the levels of creativity that they bring in because your taste is showing. I would say that there's other things you've done that show the quality of taste you have, but especially in the elder selection. You know, you touched on the solar arrays and hearing you discuss just fantasy novels, and I'm imagining that you have a rather rich history in dealing with fantasy novels. Is that part of the inspiration for creating your own world? Were you a big fantasy reader, or is it just something, or does the inspiration come from somewhere else?
It's like uh so it stems mostly in anime first. So one, to touch on fantasy novels. When I was a kid, I read hella fantasy, uh, Ender's Game, of course, like those young adult Jones, but also Brandon Sanderson is probably one of the most prolific fantasy writers of our generation, and the way he builds is like soft magic and like all these fantasy worlds, and then ties them in with the other ones that he's built was definitely a big inspiration in this. But the so when I first set out on this journey to build this out, I was like tweeting, I was like, yo, what if there was a Bible anime? That would be so lit. So then I started doing research on like cool shit that happens in the Bible. And then I hit this crazy rabbit hole of like just insane concept shit that I would have never heard in the church, like never heard from my pastor or my friends or whatever. I'm like, yo, what is this? This is actually like metal as hell. And then I just kept going. And then that turned from, I was doing research from like March of last year all the way until like September, just going deeper and deeper and deeper into the crazy ass concepts that are presented. So it started with anime because I wanted to make a Bible anime. And then I modeled the storytelling structure off of One Piece, actually. So, because that's my shit.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, is One Piece your favorite anime?
Uh, Technically, it's not my favorite anime because they be kind of messing up the anime sometimes. But it is definitely my favorite story, and it is my favorite manga for damn sure.
Man, I've been wanting to get into it. I just feel like I haven't started, and so it's too far ahead. And most of the One Piece fans have all said like, "Yo, you just have to do it because you'll find that it pulls you in." And so this might be the cosign that's enough for me to jump and make the move. One Piece makes me think of Luffy and fighting, and that's not really a segue, but I'm gonna jump. Black Hand. First of all, love the slogan, heavy is the hand. Love the gear. We touched on Sursu, just another one of those genius brains in the space looking to provide real tangible value to people. Y'all raised over a million in 24 hours. Insane. Shout out to that. What's it been like leading the way on a project that has garnered so much hype?
It's been crazy. It's just been crazy. It's not been easy at all. Like, firstly, being one of the first like DAOs in the space. I'm not like claiming first at all, but being one of the first like major DAOs in the space meant that we kind of had to shape what DAOs look like. And we're still dealing with it today, like still dealing with like all kind of troubleshooting because it's kind of a clunky thing. But besides all that, it's been so much fun. Like I've been able to travel the country, going places representing Black Hand, getting in meetings with people, talking with crazy creatives, building a team back home here in Nashville, getting content out, designing those jerseys, and basically being able to live my childhood dreams of being able to play games for a living, but now other people play them. now we have professional teams that are in these circuits. Now we can host tournaments, and it's just yeah, it's like a full circle moment because me and Amir built Black Hand. Me, Amir, Chris, and Alex built Black Hand like back in 2019, and then in 2021 we was like, oh, let's bring it to the blockchain, and it just worked so well. So it's been a great time, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Did you all connect? Are you all from Nashville, or did you connect online?
Nah, so Amir Amir was my mentor before I left college. So I like met him off of like just so like he one of my family friends invited him to like this career dinner where like people were explaining their careers and what they do, and allowing the kids to talk to them and figure out what they wanted to do. I came in late, like smooth late as hell. Like I missed every single one. But my mom was like, yo, you should talk to this guy Amir. So I went and talked to him. I'm like, yo, bro, I'd love to chop it up, get some coffee or whatever. And I was literally the only person who hit him up, the only person who chopped it up with him. And then after that, the rest is history. Like we became homies. Like he became my mentor, and a couple years later we started Black Hand, and then a couple years later we launched it on the blockchain. Uh, Alex and Chris, I actually did meet online first because they're Amir's homies first. I met them when we were like constructing Black Hand in like 2019. So like we've been Discord homies for years, but I've been able to see them multiple times recently in real life, like hanging out with the Halo team, going out for conventions and tournaments and all that kind of shit. So yeah, those were my dudes.
Yo, that's a pretty ill origin story, for real, for real. Uh, it's interesting thinking about how shit happens like that, where you said you were late and the one connection you made ended up being probably one of the most important ones of your life. What's been the most unexpected connection to come out of Web3 for you?
Uh Damn. I mean, I have a handful, but I'll actually go recent. So, uh, do you know Mick Jenkins?
Water, water, water.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So his mom is actually good friends with my aunt, and so I met him maybe like 5 6 years ago when he was in Huntsville, Alabama, like back at his alma mater, and he did a little show and like gave me VIP or whatever. It was super super dope, and it was just crazy being full circle because I got invited to this dinner with him and all these other prolific Web3 creators, most of them my homies. Um, and I was like, yo, Mick, it's been a while. And I just said the whole thing. He was like, oh shit, this is crazy. It was just wild, like the full circle connection. Cause now we've both been invited to this table. Whereas five years ago, I was just, some sniveling kid who was just trying to figure shit out. So now, it just felt different. And then I met the classic man himself recently as well, which was also a crazy link. Jadena. I don't know if niggas know who the
Nah,
classic.
I caught that. I caught that.
Uh,
I was like, I hope people caught the water reference with Mick Jenkins too. But keep going, G.
uh, So I met him recently and just chopped it up. I explained to him about the universe, and it was so wild to see his reaction. Because as I started to explain, he was like, "Yo, you talking about like Jewish mysticism?" I was like, "Yes." Like the Gnostic text. I'm like, "Yes." He was like, "Bro, that's all I do. Like I damn near came a monk off that shit. Like, yeah, bro, we need to tap in. We're gonna build LinkedIn, all that kind of shit." And I'm like, "Yo, this is crazy. What the fuck? Like,
Yo,
what the fuck is
that is
happening?"
actually fucking fire. Yo, shout out to Jenna, shout out to Mick Jenkins. I feel like both of them are approaching Web3 in a way that I really respect as, quote unquote, tradition artists that have had success in the more traditional means. And that's always ill to see them connecting with the people that are really, really making waves in this space. You touched on Discord and having been Discord homies with your co-founders for a little bit before you actually got to connect with them. Twitter already kind of violated with Void, and we're gonna get to that next. But where do you currently stand on Discord? And I'll say my stance is it's the best that we got, but I don't think it's our long term solution.
Yeah, I probably second that. I think I like really I really liked Discord, but I think more recently, like a couple months ago, they were gonna implement like Web3 integration, and they let the Wolf PFPs bully them out of it. I was like, okay, y'all not standing on anything, whatever.
Oh no,
And
put me on. What happened with the like the Wolf PFPs? What's that?
the personas they bullied Discord out of Web3 integration because they hate NFTs. Just ridiculous, just unfoundedly, just vitriol against us. Which it's whatever. I always have niggas' phone numbers and shit if I need to hit them up. The other thing I don't like about Discord is that for some reason I get way too many Discord notifications, but none of them are the ones that I actually need to see. So what the fuck is the point of having all this shit connected if I can't get the information that I really need? So 100%, it is not the end all be all on communication. It is an easy way to get people centralized into one place, but to actually push information out, there's got to be other, like, much better solutions. Like I've been gravitating towards Notion. Uh, I build up my Calendly so I can just do one-on-one meetings with people. There's so many other ways to communicate. Twitter is a solid way to communicate because I mean I actually get a lot of important information from Twitter. So it's just there's many other ways. And I know that there will be a Web3, if there isn't already one, but like a Web3 specific, like integrated communication platform or protocol or something. I know that that's coming, and I'm sure that it'll be adopted widely.
Yeah, I fuck with Twitter. We both up here with our hexagon profile pictures, and these are NFTs, but at the same time, it's I saw you set up your own contract saying now your profile picture has a bio and adding some of those ill elements to it. But I was checking out Void DAO and I saw that they permanently suspended the account. Has that been resolved, or like did you get an answer
No,
as to what happened?
no. No, bro, we sent so many requests out because it doesn't make sense why we were suspended. Like, I would even understand like a 2 day, 3 day ban, but permanently suspended is it just doesn't make any sense. Like we didn't do anything crazy at all.
Yeah,
We were
perma
just
ban is nuts.
promoting Void, and then all of a sudden we get banned. But it's all right. We got the Void Reborn account up. Go follow that if y'all not familiar. Doing crazy like event shit. We actually have a bunch of crazy shit lined up for New York. So yeah, definitely tap in. I'm like really sad about the Void account being taken down, but we move.
Yeah, NFT NYC is shaping up to be a mad one. Can you talk a little bit about what you're building at Void?
Yeah. So Void is it's kind of like a collective between us homies, Low Media, uh, Peen Poon, Kai, myself, and then we've got some more stewards, V and Alda and Max and all that working together to build build events and add on to events that make them so the whole reason why this came to be is because we went to all these events and they were trash. They were boo boo. Like uh Lauren and Peen and Kai were in Miami and they were like, this shit sucks, bro. We just need to do our own shit. And they were like, okay, let's start it up. So it's for artists by artists. Like our goal is to not only showcase artists' work, like dope artists' work, but make sure that they get bids, make sure that, they get the recognition they deserve. And on top of that, build out projection map event spaces. Like we built an installation for Zora. We built them a Zorb and just projected all kind of crazy shit. I was behind them when they saw it. They were like, "Yo, this is crazy! This is crazy!" We have some other stuff in the works, but just building on that and just making sure that these events not only like sound cool, feel cool, are hype, are good places to be, but also look fantastic. Yeah, that's the goal of it.
And see, that is why at the top of this episode, I had to highlight that you are an astonishing builder, not just in Web3, the IRL activations and just the design thought or the design thought that goes into what it is that you participate in is really ill. On top of your, let's say capabilities there, I think that you have some really profound thoughts on the space that deserve to be highlighted. I mentioned we touched on a bunch of topics in our previous spaces. One being, and I will just rehash this, white people do not need to be using black PFPs to represent their identity. There is another, I guess, complimentary quote tweet that you have that I'd like to read here and just have this permanently be a part of Money Trees. The metaverse is not an escape. It's an extension, a microcosm of our own realities. Our goal in Web3 is not to create a new destination. It's to leverage this new space to benefit the one we all live in right now. So please, save the "when we all move to the metaverse" tweets. Use the tools, the funding, the community we've built over the past 5 years to help the people in the real world that are struggling. We don't have time or energy for your escapism fantasies. Bars, my G.
Bro, you reading that out loud just gave it a whole another. I was just off the dome irritated, and that sounded like TED Talk shit. That was kind of crazy.
Yo, I'm telling you, G, when I read it, I was like, and I had seen it originally, and just when I was thinking about what I wanted to chop with you on, I told you it was loose format here, but that one piece in particular, because it really, really hits home for me. And part of onboarding, part of educating, part of even like me as a manager getting artists involved with the space, it always comes down to your why, where it's understanding why you want to be a part of whatever this is, why you want to participate in this NFT, Web3, blockchain, crypto, whatever name you want to call it, because there's layers to it. And when you come in on a surface level, yo, I just want to be this freaking random fox, or we're not going to touch on the apes, but the fucking apes. And it's like, this is me now. And yo, this just represents me. It feels so shallow. It feels a little, again, I really try to avoid like talking down on things. So I won't even get to it. I'm just going to say it's not for me. And I really love that we don't have time or energy for your escapism fantasies. When I think about the possibilities of blockchain, when I think about smart contracts and the potentials of what that can do for the world, it's so exciting to me, and it extends far beyond any a lot of the current NFT use cases, I'll say, where I think about things like, imagine what happens when all the leases are on the blockchain, or insurance, and being able to cut out the middleman and provide more affordable things like healthcare to people, because there's all these other people that are collecting fees along the way, administratively, when they don't need to. The blockchain can kind of make a lot of these jobs obsolete. And to me, that's the really, really interesting shit. And again, I know that's a bit of a tangent, but I just had to read that. And whatever place you were at when you said it, you have a lot more of these quotes, man. So I'll say that this one just in particular really, really stood out.
Yeah, I do want to say like it's like when I got in this space, Amir was like getting me, onboarded. I was selling my artwork and all that kind of shit. And then when I sat down to build the universe, I started to realize exactly what Web3 can be, like what this shit can be an engine for. And then, a couple months later, I go to my first convention out in New York, and I'll never forget somebody introducing themselves as blank PFP 1503. And I was like, this is who you are? I like no government, no moniker, no nothing. You're just one out of however many. Like I just feel like that's so disingenuous to, what, not only who you are, but what's possible out here. Like just being, and then I was having, there's this studio here at home called All True Creative, and I'm the founder John wants to get into this shit, and just how much I know is possible, just how basically what I tell people when I'm onboarding them, when I'm telling them about Web3 and all this, I tell them if you can think it, you can make it. There is a way for it to happen in the exact way that you want it. And you don't have to go through hoops. You don't have to go through companies or whatever. You can literally build any experience you want on the blockchain right now if you put your mind to it. And you'll be a pioneer in it for doing so. And I was talking with this dude, and his he wants to bring everyone to Web3, but his first use case was just, letting people have access through NFTs, which is fine. But there's so much more that you can build. There's like so many experiences and stuff that you can craft in this shit. And I don't think people are hip to it yet. And people won't be hip to it for a while. And I'm gonna be real, like until widespread adoption, I mean widespread, I mean like no more passing bills in the Senate. Like I'm talking like niggas is paying for gas in ETH. Like
Yeah, like my grandmother needs to have ETH, and that's when I'll know that it's
yes,
connected.
exactly. When everybody got this shit, when it's underneath a lot of the at least basic things in our life, when it's powering some of the more more real things that happened on the day to day, that's when we're gonna start to see people either a dig down, excuse me, either a dig down into the prolific creators and builders that are already here and doing crazy shit, and or b we're about to see some absolutely crazy shit being built as more and more people adopt this shit. So yeah, I share your same sentiment on the wacky wolves 2403 or whoever the fuck comes through. Yeah,
Yo,
it's sad.
I keep using this analogy, but I'm going to keep using it until it changes. And to me, the space feels like, remember when the iPhone first came out and that lighter app was on the App Store, and everyone was geeking over this lighter app, and it was like, yo, I got a lighter on my phone and it changes colors. And it was the number one app. I'm gonna say it was number one. It was one of the top apps for sure. And it's like, yo, after a little bit, you were just like, okay, but damn,
The
this
fuck
ain't
does it
this,
do?
yeah,
Don't
like
do
what
shit.
does it do? Like my phone ain't warmer. Like it's not actually doing anything. And there's so many projects right now that are just a lighter on your iPhone. And when you think about how revolutionary the iPhone actually was, or just the idea of that, handheld mobile device and all that's come about from it, I would argue that the blockchain will be more revolutionary than the mobile phone. And, only time will tell. But when we think about that level of change, we are not seeing the killer apps yet. And to touch on people introducing themselves, at, man, there's a lot of reasons. Like if you critically think, you will decide not to associate with your identity with projects of people that you don't know. First of all, there's so many pseudonymous founders in the space, and there's a lot of anonymous founders in the space. For you to tie up your identity by a project created by someone you don't know is wild. Like case in point, Jungle Freaks. If you were going around introducing yourself as a Jungle Freak, wild name. But past that, it's like, oh, turns out this PFP was made by someone who did extremely, extremely heinous and racist cartoons, and this is the same style that I want to represent myself. It's a cognitive dissonance that I don't think any amount of ETH gains should be causing. But again, that's neither here nor there. It's just not for me. ATM. This has been a really ill look at many of the worlds that you're a part of, the universe that you're building. I've enjoyed getting to hear more about your process, getting to hear it just in your own terms, and really keeping the spotlight on you. I genuinely believe that when people look back, and not even 5, 10 years from now, the amount of ideas and just creative energy you will have contributed to this space will be, pun intended again, iconic. There are 2 questions I ask everyone on the show before I let them go. The first question is going to be, what is your seed phrase? And now I know seed phrase is normally your account recovery key, but I just don't think that's a good enough term. If you're a newbie and you hear seed phrase, it doesn't make you think, hey, I need to keep this very safe or I'm going to lose access to all of my assets. So on Money Trees, we're repurposing seed phrase to be a saying, a quote, a slogan, a motto, a lyric that you live by that embodies your approach to your career, to your art, to your craft. ATM, what is your seed phrase?
Mm, mm. uh, Let me. Okay, here we go. 1, be yourself. And if it doesn't feel like you yourself, if you don't feel like yourself anymore, be double that. And if that don't work, be quadruple that. Like, don't stop until you're bigger than life, because you only have one life. So live it to your fullest. Take up as much space as you can. Make as much noise as you possibly can. Shine as bright as possible, because that's how you live forever type shit. So, yeah.
Shit, I'm about to make that whole thing your seed phrase, G. Oh, my Twitter tripping. My second question is going to be, we have the 1 of 1 Money Trees number 44 note that will go up for sale after this episode. How much are we listing this for?
Hmm. What did Rush list his for?
Ooh, good question. Give me 15 seconds and I'll have that answer for you. What did we list Russ the Collectors for? Where is my guy? 69 ETH.
Okay, classic, nice. I'm gonna go for 333.
Whew, there it is. I love it. ATM, this has been fire. If there are any closing remarks, any events or upcoming pieces you would like to leave the world with, let me know. If not, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. This has been an amazing way to end this week here on Money Trees. And, I will continue to support the vision. I have a question that I don't want to put the pressure on of asking you on air. So I'm going to have to hit you in the DMs about it. And
Got you.
we'll see from there.
I got you.
I got you.
To close out, look out for chapter 1 of the Gospel of Mark is coming soon. Check out the first cohort of the elders. That introduction is about to be crazy as I get everyone ideated. Check out Black Hand. Go copy you a couple of jerseys. Check out Void and all the events that we're about to be doing in New York. Also look for me in New York in June, because I may or may not be doing an event at a church, building a choir out right now, just doing a bunch of crazy shit with the homies, with the friends, with the family. I think that's it right now. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Perfect, G. Also, I'm going to send you some people because I saw that you were looking at the choir, especially if it's in New York. Got a ton of talented vocalists I can connect you with.
Say less.
All right, y'all. I'll catch everyone next week. Again, ATM, appreciate you coming through.
Peace.
Peace, peace, peace.